Guys, how's it going? Elliot here again, and in today's video we are going to be repairing the Walkman WM-F10.
And it's right here. Yup, that's right, it really is the same size as a cassette box. It's a little bit thicker, and I think it's just a tad bit taller. But other than that, it's more or less the same size, and that is absolutely nuts. Because if I go ahead and pull back this Walkman into the shot again, you'll see it's absolutely tiny in comparison. In fact, it almost fits in the actual cassette tape part. Now this was just a regular Walkman. You had a stereo out, pretty run-of-the-mill if you like. However, this one has an FM radio in it. Now this is only a tiny bit bigger than the WM-10. And that is because of the radio portion, which you can see is kind of protruded here. And the entire radio is right there. That lid is the radio, the whole thing, which was ridiculously innovative back in the time, because this, in order for this to change, it's like a variable resistor, I believe, inside there, or something similar to. And the actual technology of that was just not really existent to make it that thin. And yet they managed to do it. The control for the radio, that is the only control for the radio. On the side you have a button to change it from tape to radio, and then on the top you have your start, stop, fast forward and rewind. On the back there's the volume, that's a little latch for a case which I'll show in a later part of the video, and there's also a part there for a 1.5 volt in. Now in order for a cassette tape to actually fit in here, because you're probably thinking, well, there's got to be a little, a couple of spindles to turn it, and a reed head, just like there is in this one when you press play. Oh no, hang on, when you press play, there you go, the whole mechanism moves down. You can see that there. Well, that is also in this by doing that, and then the cassette fits in, which I think is just incredible. The intricacies involved in this thing is just, it's just genius. It is absolutely genius. I'm not actually sure how it all fits in. Oh, there we go. So there's your tape in there. That closes up. You press play, and this one doesn't work, and that's the whole point of this video. So what we're going to do is I'll pop a battery in so you can see what we're dealing with, or what we're not dealing with, I should say. And then we'll crack it open. I've got some replacement belts here, which is probably a good start, but this thing doesn't actually respond to anything, so I'm not sure how useful that's going to be. But if I pop the battery in, there's a light on the front here that's meant to light up, and it doesn't. And one thing that is present with this revision is it has to have the headphone plugged in for it to be doing anything. And again, we're not getting anything from that at all. It's just not working. And that is just because of a couple of different reasons. Firstly, I don't think the battery's making any contact at all, because the battery terminal looks like it's actually slightly broken off. And secondly, because the corrosion on the battery terminal is so substantial that it's not going to make any connection at all. So what we're going to do is crack the whole thing open. I'll speed the whole process up and we'll see what's inside.
Who's behind the mask?
Alright, so I've just taken the whole thing apart, and one thing I noticed was the screws were really loose. All of the screws were very loose, which is never a good sign. That usually means that someone's probably been in here already. And I've just got completely inside, and I've noticed that there's not even a belt inside here, which is quite concerning, because that means that, if there was a belt in here and it was, you'd be able to test if it was working or not. And the fact that someone's been in here and not replaced the belt, I mean, potentially they just didn't have a new belt to put in here, but at the same time, that's not very good that there isn't one at all. Now, this is the problem that I was referring to before about the corrosion. Obviously, corrosion is never good but specifically corrosion this bad would indicate that there might not even be a connection being made at all. So what I'm going to try and do, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do it yet, is see if I can just get some power going to this thing. Okay, so I've made somewhat no progress, but at the same time I've managed to get a little bit somewhere with something. What I actually did was I took off, well, I tried to take off this contact here, but it seems like it's glued down. Whatever happens, I'm going to have to take this out because it's so corroded that the wire connecting to it completely snapped off. But there's a little spring just in there. I don't know if you can see that there. What I did was I popped the battery in, and as I put it in, I stripped the wire, the silicone coating off of the wire, popped the battery in, and when you plug some headphones in, or in my case a little speaker, and you press play, my mum starts to hoover. There we go. You can see it's spinning, which is bloody fantastic. And on top of that, if I change it to the radio and try and well, it doesn't sound very good, that's for sure. But that is Tom Walker, Leave a Light On, I think, actually. Okay, well anyway, that is positive because that means that it does actually work. We just need to do some serious work to it. What I'm probably going to do is do that all off camera and then talk about what I did. Otherwise this video is going to be very, very long. But we've gotten somewhere. Just thought I'd explain what I actually did to get this working. I managed to remove the existing contact that was in there and basically just soaked it in baking soda and water and used quite a lot of isopropyl alcohol to scrub it down. I resoldered it in and put it back, and luckily enough it worked fine. Alright, and I managed to get this working. I'm really, really happy with it. It's a little bit dinged up. On some of the corners it's a little bit bashed up. I didn't realise at the time when I first got this that it's missing the little loop here. And what that's for is for the little case that it comes with. It's less of really a case and more of just a belt clip. Basically the whole thing kind of slides over it like so. And then this little thumb screw tightens down onto the screw mount on the back piece here, and then it locks it in place, and then you have your belt clip here, you have your access to your headphone port there, access to all the buttons. There's a little lock just on the side, and that is so that when this is open it doesn't at least I think that's what it's for. Actually I'm not, yeah, I think that's for when it's open it doesn't close again or something. So I'll give you guys a little bit of test sound to listen to. This is Awesome Mix Volume 2, and I'll just go ahead and pop it in. You can really, really see just how small this is compared to it. As I mentioned before, you do need to have headphones plugged in. This little piece, by the way, is still broken, but when the case is down, it's held in by this, and when the cassette is in there, it holds it in as well, so it's not a massive deal. I just kind of have to be careful. Obviously not to lose it because I won't be able to fix that because the plastic itself is actually broken. But yeah, nothing works when you plug until you plug a headphone piece in. One thing you'll notice as well, I'll have to keep talking over it so we don't get copyright claimed. One thing you'll notice is it's really, really loud, the actual mechanism. It sounds like a clock ticking. I'm not really sure why it's so loud. I guess it's just the motor that they used inside, but it's a really, really nice player. It sounds fantastic. It's not like a low-end model, but it's definitely not a high-end model, but for what it sounds like, I'm really, really happy with it. If we switch over to the radio as well, you'll know that you'll be able to see that this works fine. Inside it's not going to work as great because obviously there's a lot of interference with the brick. You can't really hear it very well. because of all the interference with the brick and stuff like that. So not really a great demonstration of it working, but it works absolutely flawlessly. I'm really happy with it. Fast forward works fine, and rewind as well. It's just a very loud player. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know you guys want to see more Let's Refurbs of games, consoles and stuff, but I'm really enjoying branching out and trying new things. That doesn't mean to say that I'm never going to make those videos again. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you want to use the screwdriver that I used in this video, I'll leave a link to that in the bottom in the description, but it's an absolutely excellent screwdriver, and for this it works absolutely fantastic. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.
I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is just a little bit of test audio to see what you guys think. I can't really sing, but if I was to sing, it would sound a bit like this. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe.